Hello everyone, welcome back to We Talk Media. I'm your host Robbie, and today we are back with We Talk Wrestling. No, it's not We Talk Submarine this week. If you haven't, check out the latest video from yesterday where I talk about the Hibs game and preview the Dundee game. But we're here to talk wrestling. Summerslam just happened. Decent enough pay-per-view in my opinion, but I'll give my thoughts at the end of the video. First of all, I want to thank CW Steve and Kyne from the Pelly Kick podcast for coming on the channel. I'll leave both the links down in the description so you can go and give them a sub and stuff. But up first is CW Steve. He's here to give his thoughts on SummerSlam, then I'll do mine at the end after his and Kyne. So big thank you to them, and let's see what they have to say.
Hi, my name is Steve from SCW, the wrestling channel. Big thank you to Robbie for inviting me on this video to take part with We Talk Media, and today we talk SummerSlam. I'm going to give you my brief reaction and review to the show. I think there's been some good things to talk about, some high praise in some areas. There was a couple of things for me that weren't so good as well. So to kick off with the show with Logan Paul and Ricochet, high-flying, a viral sensation match WWE hoping for. I think there's some really good spots in the match. Logan Paul in particular doing the buckshot lariat, though, going over the top rope to land on the floor to then land the clothesline was an insane spot to see. Some great interaction with the two, doing high-flying moves throughout the match. The only letdown for me was the finish with Logan Paul winning with brass knuckles. However, I do think we'll probably get a rematch further down the line. Wouldn't be surprised if the next match was in Saudi Arabia. Following that, we had the Cody Rhodes Brock Lesnar trilogy. I refuse to call it a main event. However, the match was brilliant. I loved the storytelling of Brock, really giving adversity to Cody Rhodes. It was like watching Brock Lesnar versus John Cena back in 2014. Total annihilation with the suplexes. Brock getting Cody on the outside, pretty much almost pleading for him to not get back into the ring. It's going to get worse. The F5 as well through the table. Cody always getting back in on the count of 9. And of course, Cody getting out of the Kimura lock, putting one for his own good as well, and then hitting 3 crossroads for the victory. A nice touch after the match as well. Brock Lesnar giving a handshake to Cody Rhodes, showing this rivalry is finished. Brock probably going off to do his own thing, maybe returning as a babyface when he does come back. The torch has been passed. Cody is ready now as a top bona fide star to go to that next level. When it comes to the Battle Royale, look, let's be fair, my boy LA Knight, picked up the win, so I'm not going to be complaining. I'm also happy with the Slim Jim partnership with WWE. To see the advert was a lot of fun afterwards as well. It was the right winner when it comes to the Battle Royale. LA Knight deserves that push. As I always say, he's over like Rover right now. The reactions get bigger each and every time, so now it's time to start a story with LA Knight. For me, if you have Austin Theory defeat Santos Escobar, LA Knight could be the next challenger for the United States Championship. Next was the Ronda Rousey Shayna Baszler MMA rules match. To be fair, I'm not gonna lie, this wasn't quite for me. I think MMA doesn't quite work in sports entertainment. I would have booked this slightly different if you had to do it that way. I think the crowd in attendance weren't quite aware of the rules either. I don't remember them announcing it with the ring announcers. We kind of heard it through the referee before the match started, so I felt that there was that bit of disconnect to begin with. I would have preferred if Shayna Baszler had just dominated Ronda Rousey in quick fashion. I'm not sure that things got over the way WWE wanted to. I thought Ronda had a fairly decent performance. I think Shayna as well. They both did their best in ring. I think had officials come in as well to check on Shayna, had that been a proper MMA fight, that fight would have been stopped and Shayna would have lost. So it's just those couple of things that disconnect for me. However, I think the right result was given, and I hope that Shayna does get a push going forward after this. And for me, it's a shame with Ronda Rousey, this run for WWE hasn't quite worked out for her. I wish her the very best going forward, and I hope one day maybe she'll come back one more time to WWE. Following this was the Intercontinental Championship match, Gunther versus Drew McIntyre, one of my favourite matches of the evening. I really bought into Drew potentially winning the championship. When the Claymore was hit, I thought that hand from the referee was coming down for the 3 count. I was so happy though that Gunther did kick out. I want Gunther to become the longest reigning Intercontinental Champion of all time. He's got just over a month to go, and to be fair, if you're going to put away someone like Drew McIntyre, you've got to do it in a decisive manner. The splash from the top rope, the lariat, followed by the powerbomb. All 3 moves have been used as finishers from Gunther in the past. That way it made it decisive that Gunther would win this match. I wouldn't be surprised if this match was done again in the future. Perhaps when Gunther's broken the record, Drew McIntyre could be the one to take that championship from Gunther. Following this was my match of the night, Seth freaking Rollins versus Finn Balor. Really enjoyed the storytelling of this from start to finish, with Finn having 7 almost painted on his shoulder. I think they said it was tattooed on commentary. either way, I thought it was a nice touch. The fact that Finn using that psychology and the story from their match in 2016 was a nice touch. This match, though, really took another gear once Damian Priest came to ringside, trying to give that briefcase to Finn Balor, although Balor thought that Priest was going to cash in. I thought that the miscommunication between these two actually really worked. A couple of really exciting near falls with Seth and Balor as well. I really bought in particular to the one where Seth was taking out the Judgment Day members on the floor, came into the ring, was hit with a sling blade, the drop kick into the corner, and the coup de grace. I thought to myself that was going to be it. There was a moment though where it felt like that Balor said, look, cash in Money in the Bank, let's get this title off Seth Rollins, and Damian slid the briefcase into the ring, went round for the distraction. As Balor went to grab the briefcase, he was hit with a curb stomp from Seth for the 3 count. Look, there's going to be problems with Judgment Day. I like the group together, to be honest. I don't want to see them break up, but the storytelling here was fantastic. The match was exciting. It was my favourite match of the night. Really enjoyed as well the women's championship match, particularly from the second half. I thought the first half, something seemed a bit off with timing. I don't know if all the moves were connected as well as they should have been, but still 3 very talented performers in Bianca Belair, Asuka and Charlotte Flair. However, from the injury moment from Bianca Belair, I was hooked into this match, and Bianca looked like she'd really sold an injury as well, of injuring her leg, was being carried from ringside. You could tell though it was a worked injury, especially with the way that the camera work was being done as well, especially when Bianca was heading towards the back. That's not something that they would do on WTV if it was legit. But personally, once Bianca did make her way back to ringside, hitting a 450 smash from the top rope onto Charlotte Flair, who had the figure 8 on Asuka. Like I said, an exciting match from here on. Charlotte and Bianca hitting blows head on. Of course, Charlotte getting the upper hand, putting the figure 8 on Bianca Belair. Asuka, though, using the mist on Charlotte to take her out of the equation. Looked like she was going to try and pin Bianca Belair, but instead was rolled up instead and went down for the 3 count. Bianca Belair, massive surprise, becoming the women's champion. Really enjoyed that finish. I thought it was very creative. And then, of course, we got the cash in from Io Sky. Loved the fact that Bayley and Io actually double team, taking everybody out, making sure that that cash in was going to be successful. And, of course, how poetic as well. 1 year after Damage Control make their debut, one of them is champion. Bayley didn't screw Io Sky, which is something I've been predicting on my channel for quite a while. So I actually really like the way this played out. And Dakota Kai turning up on the show as well, I thought was a nice touch. Lastly, Tribal Combat, of course, Roman Reigns versus Jey Uso. I thought this match was long. I'm going to be honest, probably controversial. It dragged for me. The longest match in SummerSlam history, over 36 minutes. Gotta be honest with you guys. Look, everything we expect to see in one of these matches. We got a candlestick, table, chair. That's fine, we've seen it all before. But Solo Sikoa got involved as well in the match for about what felt like a very long time. And it just felt like the 36 minutes could have been condensed into 18 minutes. Everything was slow. I know it's probably on purpose, they're trying to give you a psychological feeling, but for me, it just dragged. I got a bit bored. I can't lie about it. But of course, everything came towards the end, a miscommunication, Roman spearing Solo. Of course, the attack still going out on the floor, but there was a stare down with Solo and Roman just for a small period before Roman got put through the barricade. Jey Uso doing the same as what he did at Money in the Bank, doing a splash to Solo through the announcer's table. Looked like he put Roman away in the ring, hitting the Uso splash, and of course Roman is saved once again, but this time it is Jimmy Uso who comes in, betrays his twin brother Jey, hitting that super kick on the floor, Roman picking up the pinfall, 1, 2, 3. Not gonna lie to you, I wasn't overwhelmed with the finish either, purely because I don't feel it makes sense at this stage, although explanation can make things always work around. But those two were inseparable. What makes them now rivals? That's going to be exciting to see going forward. But for me, SummerSlam overall, going to give the show about 6.5 out of 10. I thought that it was good. Don't think it was great. Certainly will be some matches I would go and watch again. But looking forward to hear what everyone else has got to say in the video. And a big shout out to Robbie for having me on. Thank you once again. And make sure everyone to subscribe to We Talk Media. Take care. Hope to see you all very soon.
My reaction to SummerSlam, I think it was a very solid PLE. I do think it was a bit underwhelming, but I'm going to get on to my reactions. LA Knight winning the Battle Royale. I think everyone saw it coming. He's the most over guy in the company right now. Obviously, it was going to happen. The return of almost a Nigerian giant. It was a good return. They did the classic. Everyone threw him out the ring because he's such a big guy. Decent Battle Royale is what a Battle Royale is. LA Knight wins it. Now the rocket's been turned on. He's getting boosted. He's getting the big push. We can all see it happening. What they're going to do with him exactly, I'm not too sure personally, but it's happening right now. Next, Shayna Baszler beating Ronda Rousey. Everyone saw it coming. I think it was very predictable. There was no way Ronda was going to win, especially with all the rumours that she wants to leave. Shayna's the right person for Ronda to put over. I think it was a very decent match. MMA rules. It could have been a better match. It wasn't, but it was the right outcome. They made the right choice. Seth Rollins beating Finn Balor and retaining the World Heavyweight Championship. I think Finn should have won, personally, but he didn't. Seth did, with a little bit of interference from Judgment Day. Damien kind of costed Finn a little bit, you could argue, and that is what they will argue. I do believe on Raw they'll build the storyline, the intensity going up, see what happens with it. I do think Finn should have won, though, just for the 7-year storyline. That could have been completed, been an amazing storyline, locked off, unbelievable for the history books, and then moved that story into Judgment Day. Damian Priest with the briefcase, Finn's now the champ, see what they do with it. Next I got Logan Paul beating Ricochet. It was a great match. It was a solid match. It was the opening match, but it was a very, very good match. Some good spots. We kind of expected it to be a good match. Opening match for the sake of Logan going to Jake, but he still delivered. He didn't make the match worse. He didn't shorten the time. It was still a very good match. Logan deserved the win. He needed a PLE win. He needed a big win. Beating someone like Ricochet is a big win. A credible guy. It was the right choice for him to defeat Ricochet. Then I've got Cody Rhodes beating Brock Lesnar. We all saw it coming in a rubber match. There was no way Brock was going to beat him. Cody, the most over guy with LA Knight, I'd argue, definitely beating him. Just see what they do from here with Cody, because they want him to finish the story. Cody said finishing the story is not winning the World Heavyweight Championship, so he's probably going to end up fighting Roman again at some point in the future, probably at Mania. Would not surprise me. Decent match. It was a decent match. I do think it was the right choice for Cody to win, and we will now see what happens in the future for Cody Rhodes. Brock will probably be on hiatus for a while, and then he'll come back and beat someone just in time for Mania. And then I've got Gunther beating Drew McIntyre. I predicted it. I saw it coming. There was no chance they're not going to have him beat the record. They're going to have him beat the record. It's happening. I said it would happen. I think everyone said it would happen. You know, it doesn't affect Drew too much by not winning, purely because Gunther's so big. He's such a guy. He's not lost for ages. So it makes sense, and they can now move on to maybe Drew, someone else, feud with somebody else on Monday Night Raw. I don't think he was drafted. He might have been, so I could be wrong. If he wasn't, maybe feud with someone on SmackDown. Maybe he bounces around. Just see what they do with him. I do want him to do well, and I do think he deserves a good booking. Now, on to the main event. Roman versus Jay, tribal combat to become the head of the table, to become the champion. Roman Reigns defeats him with the help of Solo and Jimmy. Jimmy, I do believe, didn't do it for Roman. He didn't do it for Solo. He did it for himself, out of jealousy, as Roman said. And now Roman's going to be proved right. But Jimmy doesn't want to side with either of them. So I think the triple threat's there, potentially. A feud between Roman and Solo, because Solo was disobedient. Solo wanted to be shown respect, and he doesn't feel like he's being respected by Roman. So maybe them two feud for the belt. Jimmy versus Jay builds into Mania. We just see what they do with it. It was a very good match though. Jay, main event, Jey Uso, he was amazing. Roman was amazing. The crowd was very, very good. It was a solid match. The right decision. Roman's just not dropping the title anytime soon. Probably at Mania, if he takes on Cody, I would favour Cody to win that one. But Summerslam, I think, was a solid pay-per-view. PLE, as you'd call it. A bit underwhelming though, but it was solid. Just a bit predictable, more than it should have been. I think it was a very decent one. Better. Next up is the triple threat. Bianca Belair versus Charlotte Flair versus Asuka. I think it was a very good match. It's the longest women's match in SummerSlam history, I believe. Going over 20 minutes, or just 20 minutes-ish. Pretty solid match. Bianca obviously picked up the victory. Her title reign only lasted for about a minute before Io Sky came in, cashed in, became the new women's champ. I liked the fact Bayley helped her, because it shows they're not splitting up, that she's not jealous. She was helping her win it. And if she was just like they were running that same type of story, it's the same story going on in Judgment Day, and it's kind of the same story happening in the Bloodline. Every faction doesn't need to split up at the same time over the same type of thing, over jealousy. Realistically, I think it doesn't need to happen, and there's no point in it happening for every single faction. Damage Control, it is a bit of a bad faction, I'll be honest, but I do think they could make it work a little longer, build a storyline, see how it goes.
So big thank you for the two for coming on. Some very interesting predictions there. I will now give my own predictions. We kicked off the night with Logan Paul versus Ricochet. I thought it was a very good match. Some great spots in the match. Obviously, I would have thought it would have been cut a bit shorter because Logan had to go and see Jake Paul fight Nate Diaz, but it actually went on for a pretty decent amount of time. Logan picking up the win, which I thought was the right decision, because they can continue this feud down the line, and we get to see more of Logan Paul Ricochet, which I think has been a very good feud so far, so I'll give that match a 7 out of 10. Moving on, we had the Battle Royale. This is in no order, by the way. I don't think the Battle Royale was second. The Battle Royale, LA Knight, yeah, won this match. I think everybody's happy with that. I know Steve was particularly happy with that. Great result. I mean, this is the time where you're going to push LA Knight to the min now. He's got a rocket tied to his back. It's just time for lift off now. In terms of the actual Battle Royale itself, it was very good. We also got the return of Omos, who get put out to everybody doing what people always do, go for the biggest guy. Everybody go for the biggest guy and you get him there. That was good. I thought it was good at LA Knight eliminating Miz as well, and the Miz obviously prompting him to go back in and get him, so maybe that's a feud we see down the line, you never know. I think LA Knight next should go for the United States Championship, or I would say the Intercontinental, but he's not going to beat Gunther right now, so that would be a wee bit of a shame, but I think he should go for maybe the United States, because let's be honest, Fury's not doing much right now. He was in the Battle Royale actually, which shows how much they care about the United States Championship, and they've not even got that on the card. But again, very good win for LA Knight. I'll give the Battle Royale overall a 6 out of 10. Moving on then, Ronda Rousey versus Shayna Baszler in the MMA rules match. Ronda's away, that's it. I'm pretty confident she's away. In fact, Shayna picked up the win in a match that was weird. I think I enjoyed, like when it first happened, I think I enjoyed the MMA rules a bit more than I probably should have, but in terms of the match itself, after I've gone and rewatched it, it's a very bland match. It's just a bit, I think the only word you can use to describe it is meh. It's a meh match. Shayna deserved the win. I hope they push Shayna a wee bit now, because I think she's one of the better people in the company right now, female talent wise. But yeah, deserved win. I don't know if we'll ever see Ronda in a WWE match again. I think we definitely should see her once more, and I hope she does come back for once more, but I don't know. Anyway, moving on, the women's triple threat match as well. I thought the three women put on a good show. I believe it's the longest women's match in Summerslam history, averaging over 30 minutes I think the match got. Very good match. I think in terms of EO cashing in at the end, I think it was good that they made Bianca won just for that reason. I think Bianca wins, the crowd's in a wee bit of shock, and then you get EO running and cashing in, which was ultimately the right decision. We seen Dakota Kai back, but she did say in a press conference it probably won't be till 2024. She still weighs off for returning, so we might not see Dakota for another while, but it was good to see the three of them. Obviously Io's the new champion. She's no split up for Bailey yet. I thought that was actually going to happen last night, but they're sticking together. Hopefully they're going to push Damage Control a wee bit, give them a few wins, because they've been very bland. I know the greatest woman tag like faction, you know what I mean? They're just, again, they're quite a meh faction. It's not really done much over the past year. I believe it's been a year since the debut. I think it was last SummerSlam with the Becky Lynch stuff, but they've not really done much in the year, so I'm glad they've gave Io the push. Moving on then, we have Cody Rhodes versus Brock Lesnar. Another decent enough match, as you'd expect. Cody being dominated during the full match. Brock just hitting him with counters, suplexes, F5s, one everything. I mean, he literally showed off his entire moveset against Cody Rhodes, and yet Cody still beat the count every time, get back in the ring. and they managed to hit him with 3 Cody cutters and win the match. It was an alright match. I'll get a 5 out of 10 in terms of actual match itself. But what next for Cody Rhodes? Obviously, that's a big question people are asking. He said at his press conference, I think people know what's next for Cody Rhodes. My guess is it'll be Roman Reigns probably again. I like to see him go for Seth Rollins, but I just don't think it'll happen because you don't want to give him that belt, and then it just seems like a wee bit of a loser's belt since he couldn't beat Roman. So I think he needs to go for Roman again. WrestleMania, I think, will be when he potentially beats Roman, and it wouldn't surprise me if he beats Roman. But a 5 out of 10. Next is Drew McIntyre take on Gunther for the Intercontinental Championship. Gunther eventually retains. Pardon me. This was a very good match. I really enjoyed it actually. Probably match of the night for me. I think it was right to give Gunther the win because, as I've said previously, he needs to beat the Honky Tonk Man's record. He's got about a month left to do it. I think he will do it. I don't think MD will stop him in a month. I don't think MD should stop him in a month. But in terms of the match itself, it was a very good match. I think both men put on a show. I thought McIntyre actually had it when he went for the Claymore and he hit it, and then he just unfortunately kicked out Gunther. And then they finished the match. The thing off the top rope. I hope Drew's alright. That looked quite fair. Hitting him with a clothesline and then his finisher, and 1, 2, 3. It was a good match, good finish. I think it was right that Gunther won, and I don't know how long it'll be until he gets stopped. Moving on to the second last match, Seth Rollins versus Finn Balor. I think this was a complete wrong decision to make Seth retain. I think you had to have Finn win this match. I think in terms of the match itself, I mean, it was an excellent match. We obviously seen intervene for the Judgment Day. That didn't really help Priest obviously throwing the Money in the Bank briefcase in the ring, like Finn take it and hit him, and then Finn goes to take it and Seth Rollins gives him a curb stomp. But again, I don't think it was the right decision. I think they should have booked Finn to win this match because Judgment Day, I mean, it looks like Damien's going to be splitting away for them, but I don't think that's right. I think they should have kept Judgment Day together. I think they're probably one of the best tag team factions right now. Dom and Rhea obviously doing well at NXT now. I think they'll probably be back on the main roster. Damien obviously Money in the Bank. Then you could have had Finn by that title, and then Damien cashes in on like a Gunther or something, and look bang, you have four champions in the one faction. I mean, that would have been literally unstoppable. So I don't think it was the right decision. I'm excited to see what they go for next. I'm gonna guess Seth and Finn will get a final match. I don't know. I think they should have it where Judgment Day can't get involved. I don't think Judgment Day should get involved. Maybe in a Hell in a Cell type of match. I'm assuming they should go for. I don't think there's anybody to get in there unless Dominic hides under the ring the full event. I don't know. But moving on to the main event, Roman versus Jay. What a roller coaster. It felt like a long 36-minute match, as I think Steve was saying earlier in the video. They could have definitely just cut it half the time, 18 minutes, and it would have been better. Maybe not better, but it would have been like, we would have probably enjoyed it more just because how long it took. It's a very slow burner. I mean, I guess that's what most Roman matches are like. You look at Roman matches and they're always quite like long, slow at the start, then one moment happens so it switches, and that's sort of what happened when obviously Solo gets involved. I mean, he's in the match for quite a while. Not much of the tribal combat actually went in because Solo just sort of got involved, put him through a table, and that was it for most of the match. But I think one moment switched when Roman speared the Solo, and then obviously it looks like Solo's going to turn now. Then they get back into the ring. Jay manages to spear Roman and hit him off the top rope with a finisher, and then just as it looked like Jay's going to win, Jimmy goes and pulls him out of the ring. You just knew that was going to happen. I think it's the right decision. I've seen a lot of meltdown on Twitter, people saying it's the wrong decision, shouldn't have done that, should have been Jay winning or Roman winning. That's clear. I don't think so. I really don't think so. I think it was the perfect booking for Jay and Jimmy and that, and I think now you're going to go into see a fatal four-way between the four of them. I think that's the right call. I think there should be a fatal four, but I think that's the only way to decide, and to be honest. I'm quite looking forward to see how that story progresses. In terms of the actual match itself, I'll give it a 6 out of 10. I don't think anything too special, like in terms of the actual match, like no Solo getting involved or Jimmy getting involved, none of that. Just in terms of the actual wrestling itself, I'd get a 6 out of 10. Storyline wise, you're looking at another 9 out of 10. I mean, they just keep smashing it storyline wise week after week, so overall then, I thought it was a pretty decent show. I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. I think that's what most people have gave it. Looking ahead to, I think, Payback's the next pay-per-view. Be interesting to see who's on that card, because, I mean, for the trailer it looks like Brock and all that's going to be there, but obviously they won't. That's just the first trailer for it, but I hope you have enjoyed. Again, big thank you to Steve and Kyne for coming on. It's been a pleasure speaking to you guys, and we'll see you guys soon. And make sure you check out Z Game and use code WeTalk for 10% off. And I'll see you guys in the next one.